Welcome along to this week's edition of Behind the Boxes. It's quite a somber one we're going to start with the sad news of the passing of Leviathan breeder and champion guy in Paul Wheeler. I'll talk to Timmy the Battler Newbold about that in just a moment, but we've got a big show coming up. Nevertheless, we've got a super Saturday at Wentworth Park with two Group 1s, the Group 1 Vic Peters Classic, the Group 1 Peter Mosman Opal, also the Group 2 Sydney Cup, an intriguing race for the stayers as well. So it is a super Saturday. Sydney is out of lockdown. The Battler joins us on Behind the Boxes. And mate, as I said, very sad news. On Wednesday evening, we received that Paul Wheeler had passed away.
Yeah, Duke, good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, really sad news which filtered through last night. Paul Wheeler, a legend of the sport, Duke. And legend in this day and age, in my opinion, is used way too often. But Paul Wheeler was an utter legend. What he has done for this industry. Look, I didn't know Paul all that well. I'd only met him a couple of times and had a couple of quick, short conversations. He was always really, really good to chat to. Very, very knowledgeable man, and his innovation in greyhound racing is quite remarkable. I know you knew him really, really well, and went back a long, long way with your dealings with Paul over the years, Duke.
Yeah, and again, it's, as you say, that word legend, you think of JB Cummings, Tommy Smith. Paul had the unenviable task of taking over from his father, Alan, when Alan unfortunately passed away as well at quite a young age. And it wasn't easy. And Paul, at that time, he was at the Oaks. And my first real dealings, although I'd grown up knowing about the Wheelers, I hadn't really had a lot to do with Paul until very early 1990s. Another great mate of mine and one of Paul's best friends in Gary Young, who raced all the big bad dogs. I was in the process of making my very first greyhound racing extra video. Gary gave me the invitation to contact Paul. I wanted to do a feature story. Paul was on my very first edition of Greyhound Racing Extra. Couldn't be more helpful. I remember after we produced it and before we released it, I sent him a video, and I get a phone call on a Thursday night. I was standing in the lounge room at my house at Borkham Hills, and he goes, "G'day, Mark, it's Paul." And he is always, came across sort of gruff and abrupt and that, but he wasn't like that. I said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "I've just watched that video." And I've gone, "Oh, Jesus." He goes, "I got to tell you," he said, "it's the greatest thing I've ever seen produced about Australian greyhound racing." For me, it wasn't so much, Timmy, the fact that, someone saying how good it was. It was the fact that it was Paul Wheeler. So a man who I respected so much. And not a lot of people realise that, he trained 3 Dapto 100,000 winners. The last one cost him a trip to America, to Disneyland, for his young daughter. He promised her a trip over there if he won the race. And I remember being at a teppanyaki restaurant at Castle Hill with Gary Young, Paul and Jan, and my kids and my wife at the time. And I remember Gary saying to Paul at the time, he said, "Mate, you've got to work out what you want to do in greyhound racing. Do you want to be a breeder? You want to be a rearer? You want to be a trainer? You want to be a stud master?" He said, "Because you can't be everything." And it was a very short time after that Paul made the decision basically to stop training, started farming his dogs out. And from there, you look at the success he's had, mate. It would take us 10 minutes to go through the dogs. I mean, just the impact of dogs like Barcia Bale and Fernando Bale at start. They've changed the way. Paul was very, I guess, dominant in the way that he brought semen in from America and Ireland. And people say, "Oh, yeah, he could afford to do that. He's got 1 million brood bitches. He can," but again, he's changed the course of how we breed and that, mate. And terrible loss. I can only imagine what Jan and Brendan and Brendan's wife Nicole, I could only imagine how they would be feeling at the moment to lose someone at such a young age, mate, after they made the move down to Maringo in southwest New South Wales. Terrible loss, mate.
Yeah, sure is, Duke. And yeah, our condolences to Jan, Brendan, Nicole, the entire family, and all Paul's really close friends. He's left an indelible mark on this industry, will never be forgotten, a true legend, along with his dad, Alan, both inducted into the Australian Greyhound Racing Hall of Fame, the only father and son combination to be inducted. So yeah, really sad time. And yeah, this industry, yeah, it's I think we're all in a little bit of shock.
Yeah, and again, you know, you look at the dogs, you know, if you say to anyone in the greyhound dogs, do you know the Bales, or do you know the Allens, or do you know the Diners? They all know the Bale dogs. There was a time where South Australian greyhound racing wouldn't have survived without Paul Wheeler bred dogs. I think I was supplying 23% of the fields. Very funny story to me. He was never a punter, right? Never a punter. I never knew him to bet, right? Except when it came to a big Group 1 race. Right?
I do know this story, yes.
Yeah. And I'd say to him, what have you done? He goes, you know what I've done? I go, what have you done? He said, I've had $10 on every other dog bar mine, because he didn't want to be the mock, right? And I'd go up there after the race, and they're on the table in front of all the betting tickets, right? So he'd spend like $60 or $70 on the race and pick up 100,000, win it, because he didn't want to mock his own dog.
I actually do remember, because I actually seen the tickets when Radley Bale won the Golden Easter egg. I think I was working on the catching pen then, and we actually had the camera there, and we filmed all of the other tickets that Paul had put on when Radley Bale
he
won.
He did it every feature race, mate, no matter where it was, Melbourne Cups, Australian Cups, whatever. So again, on behalf of the entire greyhound racing industry, but particularly us here at Greyhound Racing New South Wales, our sincere condolences to the Wheeler family on the loss of an absolute legend of a man. All right, Timmy, you're out of lockdown. You're at about, 85% double vaccination rates. What's happening as far as COVID restrictions with people being allowed on course in New South Wales is concerned?
Yeah, last night, Greyhound Racing New South Wales put out an announcement with the changing guidelines with New South Wales Health and whatnot. So to now enter a greyhound racing track in New South Wales, you need to be double vaccinated, either double vaccinated. If you are living in a regional area, you need to have had one vaccination and the other one booked by November 1, or the other one is you've got a medical exemption. You can enter the track if you have got a medical exemption. So they're the conditions up until December 1, when we will open up all freely. You know, we'd like to think it could be a little bit before then, the way the vaccination rates are going here in New South Wales. I think first dose now is up to around the 91% mark early this morning, and second doses around the 77, 78 or thereabouts. So yeah, they're the new rules which came out last night, Wednesday night. So yeah, double vaccination to enter the track, and trainers can still race their greyhounds, just need to work out. A fellow trainer can, you can, whether you wanted to drive to the track or meet the trainer somewhere, and then, they do it however you see fit, but you can still race your greyhound. So double vaccination, if you're in a regional area, it is slightly different, one vaccination with the other one booked by November 1, or a medical exemption. So all of the information is on the website. So any participants who just need clarification, just give anyone a call in the office, or go to the various websites.
Now, just to be clear here, mate, because I've read on social media, a lot of people want to pot Greyhound Racing New South Wales. This is actually a New South Wales health directive. It is not Greyhound Racing New South Wales. You're only following the directions of New South Wales Health.
Exactly, Jude. And they are ever changing, as everyone knows. Over the last 3 or 4 months, there's always new rules and restrictions coming through, and different public health orders. So it is that we're obeying by the New South Wales government guidelines. And if you read closer, greyhound facilities are considered entertainment facilities, recreational venues, and the like. So it is a directive from the New South Wales government. So the rapid antigen testing was introduced to try and counteract, but now that has been taken over. It's been paused for the moment because, as I said earlier, you need to be either double vaxxed or those other conditions to enter a greyhound track here in New South Wales.
And if you've been double vaxxed, you will have that on your smartphone, or you'll have a photocopy or something like that of it. That's the COVID-19 certificate, which tells that you're double vaccinated. But as Timmy said, go to thedogs.com.au or grnsw.com.au for all the latest as far as the COVID is concerned, or the COVID entry rules are concerned for tracks right around New South Wales. All right, let's start talking racing. Last Friday night, mate, the Group 2 Blacktop. Boy, oh boy, did that race live up to the expectations. Pre-race, More Sauce drawn in box 1, Zulu Warlord drawn in box 4, the fastest qualifier, Zipping Curios, drawn in box 5, all these different scenarios of who was going to lead, where was Zipping Curios going to sit, and, you know, is there going to be Casual Glance coming down the outside? What a race for the ages. And Zipping Curios straight onto the fence behind More Sauce, Zulu Warlord outside More Sauce. What a race it was down the back straight.
They declared it on, didn't they, that pair? More Sauce and Zulu Warlord and Zipping Curios. You know what? It kind of reminded me a little bit of Nick. You know, I think he just slid into third, cool as a cucumber.
Yeah.
Thinking, have a look at these pair, just cut at each other in front. I'm just going to hook 3 deep, put them away late. That's what he did. Look, he's been in the money in his past, I think, 17 runs.
Yeah.
Taken feature races, run amazing times and track records. He is just the complete race dog now. His track sense is what is winning him races. He's not that lid ping straight to the front, run them ragged. He's got to get into the right positions in his races, and he's doing it, Duke. And I'm not comparing him to this greyhound, Rapid Journey, but I'll tell you what, he's got the track sense now, I think, of a Rapid Journey, because he just knows where to go, Duke, and he's just getting himself in the right places at the right time. And Minnie and John have done a marvellous job with him. As I said, we looked at that race over and over. There were a number of different scenarios. There was only one greyhound you wanted to be on at that first turn when he just snuck into third position and watch those 2 leaders really cut at each other. They were both tremendous too, Duke.
How good was More Sauce?
Yeah, he was great. Zulu Warlord. Now, there was a bit of a knock on his form going into it. Was he going as well as what he had been previously? But he ran a bottler. But, you know, all honours to Zipping Curios. He was just super strong to the line. Interesting, you know, he has been given a nomination, an invite in the top 20 or 30, whatever it is, for the Top Gun. So he's got to be right in the mix for that race. And then, you know, we've got all of the other feature races here in New South Wales. Where will they go? They got the Melbourne Cup, the Phoenix coming up. Yeah, so, yeah, I think he's got an exciting couple of months ahead, Zipping Curios.
Yeah, he's really taken, as Minnie said last week when we spoke to her, Timmy, that he's got better with racing. He's got smarter, he's got brainier. You compared him to the greyhound that I have always considered the best race dog. I've always said I thought Brother Fox is the fastest dog I've ever seen. Rapid Journey is the best race dog I've ever seen. And you're right, Zipping Curios last week, he ended up 2 back the fence, where I thought Ritzer William would be. I thought Zipping Curios would be 3 back the fence. But he came out, got the run down the back straight. He was the only one you wanted to be on. As I said, I thought More Sauce was extremely gallant at what was only his 3rd ever 500. Zulu Warlord, we know what he dishes up. He's just such an honest campaigner and that. But, yeah, all honours with Zipping Curios, and we'll wait and see exactly where he goes. But you'd think he is a contender in any of the big races. All right, it is a Super Saturday at Wentworth Park this Saturday night. Timmy, you and I will both be there. We've got a showcase presentation that will be streaming live through our social avenues. We've got 2 Group 1s, a Group 1, Vic Peters Classic, Group 1, Peter Mosman Opal, and one of the most intriguing staying races that we've seen for a long time, the Group 2 Sydney Cup. Let's talk about the Opal first. Last week, Fernando's Glory ran 29.71. She sent the benchmark. We're going to talk to Mick Hardman in just a moment about his chances. Fernando's Glory went 29.71, winning her heat. And again, big races are won by good boxers, Timmy. And you just look at the way that the field has been drawn for this, and you think that she's Salacious off the inside and Fernando's Glory, they're going to be the 2 punters' picks, and they're going to be the punters' picks for good reason.
Yeah, I think she's Salacious particularly is beautifully drawn down on the rails underneath Fernando's Glory, who will give her room to move in the early stages. She ran 29.88 a couple of runs ago. She's Salacious, and then led all of the way on Saturday night in 30.03. She makes her own luck on the speed. Look, I think the 2 greyhounds wide out of the value in the race in Analysing and Sophie's RN. Sophie's RN, I thought, was terrific first up under race conditions at Wentworth Park when she finished second behind She's Salacious, and I think she could easily turn the tables. I like her drawn wide out. She did trial 29.80 at Wentworth Park prior to that run last Saturday night. And Analysing, as Mick will tell us really soon, is just a really good race bet. She's as reliable as they come at box rise. She's got that early pace to put herself into the race each and every time she steps out on the track. And I think she's nicely drawn wider out because she's only a 25 kilo bitch and she'll be looking to charge over and get the fly through the first turn. So box one is beautifully drawn. I think Fernando's Glory, Duke, is probably a bit better drawn in boxes 4, 5 or 6 because she does want to shift a little bit. And out wide, I think, are the two really well-drawn greyhounds. So I think this is a very intriguing race too. And there's a couple of roughies too in there that you can't really rule out. Ziggy Star at 10-1. She was really strong in the latter stages after being headed in the early part and then came again late. So, yeah, it's a really, really strong race, Stu.
Well, the man who's got 2 runners in this, including the favourite, is Mick Hardman, who joins us on Behind the Boxes today. Mick, thanks for being a guest again. This is your second appearance on the show. You're becoming a regular, mate. Let's talk about Fernando's Glory first. The fastest heat winner. Only 4 starts back, mate. She broke a maiden, and here she is on Saturday night, favourite for a Group 1.
Yeah, she in pre-training, she pre-trained well. Then she come on season towards the end. Then in lockdown, I was racing around Goulburn, which she wasn't suited so much. I took her up to Bathurst one night and trialled her after last for Chasing Me Honey. And she only got beat a length in 29.7. So I knew that she could run. It was just a matter of time before she come good and started putting it all together.
And she draws box 2 on Saturday night. We saw her have the rails here last week at Wenty going 29.71, a 5.39 first split. You'd love to see her replicate that early speed again.
Yeah, I actually don't know where that comes from. She's her last section has been the best of all the performances so far. So she surprised me.
Mick, going into that race, she was fresh. Do you think that did help her come out and then show that early burn? Because she hadn't had a run for a little over 3 weeks. She'd had a trial at Nowra where she did go quick, but being fresh did help her show that bit more early speed.
Well, I actually think the opposite, Timmy. I think the work during the week, she trialled at Nowra on the Monday. I give a Tuesday off and I worked the Wednesday, Thursday, and then went to the race on Saturday. So, yeah, so she actually trialled on the Monday 500 at Nowra.
Well, what about this week's preparation? Have you replicated that?
Done exactly the same.
Never change it if it works, Mick.
We worked her really hard on Monday and same routine during the week.
What about Analysing, drawn out in box 7? Again, she was really impressive on Saturday night. She had box 2 in the heat last week. She moves to box 7. I'm tipping you probably would like those boxes reversed again, mate.
No, I actually think she's drawn well off the track mark. I think she's a bit of a cut and run dog, so I actually prefer her drawn out wide, that bitch. Again,
a ton of early speed from her, mate. She is, although she's only had 14 starts, 6 wins, she is one of the most reliable beginners, I'd say, that you've got in the camp.
Yeah, she broke her toe probably about 4 or 5 months ago, and I bought her back through Bathurst. If you look at her form, she's been faultless for the last probably 3 months.
Mick, she's one of the most consistent greyhounds in New South Wales at the moment. She's absolutely flying as far as I'm concerned. She continually nails a jump. She's got that early burn. I like what you said. You like her drawn wider out, a bit of a cut and run bitch. She's only 25 kilos. Looking at the prices between the two bitches, Fernando's Glory is $2.25. Analysing is $9. I think that is a crazy difference between the pair.
Yeah, I do too. I think you know what you're going to get with Analysing. I think she'll come out and run, 5:45 or something like that, and 18 to the back. That's what she does week in, week out. And the other bitch, like I said, she's on the way up, so she needs to back it up.
Are you a little concerned? I know you like Fernando's Glory drawn down nearer to the rails, but she did want to shift a little bit, up the home straight through that first corner. Are you worried if she's got any pressure coming down from the outside? And if she does want to go a little right, is that a little bit of a concern?
I'm not too worried about if she gets shuffled back. Like, she is really strong, so I'm not too concerned if she gets shuffled back and if she's third or fourth. Depends who's in front of her, but yeah, she can probably win from any position. Where Analysing definitely needs to be up near the lead.
The biggest danger, Mickey, to your two, I imagine She's Salacious, drawn off the red. Impressive at the last two starts at Wenny, 29.88 and 30.03 on Saturday. And as we know, boxers win big races, mate.
Yeah, I think Peter Sims' dog is well drawn down in the one, but I think they're smoking the race is the pink.
Sophie's RN for good old Reggie Gardle up here at Grafton.
Yeah, I think it's a real smoky, that dog, because Analysing is going to come down towards the fence near the winning post there. And I think the pink, if it holds its line and doesn't, or begins okay, I think it's in the race.
Well, she kicked off her career in the Grafton Maiden Classic, which was won by Zipping Maserati. Trialled 29.80 at Wentworth Park recently, and then went 30 and 21 when finishing second there. She's only had one stayed out of the pink, 1 for 1. So I'm just looking at the prices, and she's
$10.
Yeah, she's around that $10 quote. Oh, look at that one. All right. Yeah, tell Reggie.
It is hard to win off the pink there when you're a young dog.
Yeah.
That's the only probably thing it's going against it, but I think it is well boxed.
All right, I'm going to really nail you down here. You've got to split your pair, Analysing and Fernando's Glory. Who do you lean to?
I can't really pick them.
No.
I'll get off the fence. I think Analysing only purely because I know what she's going to dish up.
Yeah.
And the price, she's $9 and the other bitch is $2.25 as a punter.
Yep.
You're leaning that way over the two kennel mates. So I think Fernando's Glory. I think on the night you'll be getting $3, $3.20. I think she's way unders. She'll get out. If the punters are out there and you do want to back Fernando's Glory, hold off till Saturday night. You'll get a better price. I think your other bitch, Analysing, I think she'll be a firm at Mick.
Yeah, I think, look, there's no doubt Fernando's Glory is the quickest of the two, but Analysing at the moment is a better race bitch.
And Mickey, before we let you go, mates, we're recording this on Thursday morning. We received the sad news last night. Timmy and I have already spoken about the passing of Paul Wheeler, absolute leviathan as far as Australian greyhound and world greyhound racing is concerned. A man who had an enormous impact on the breeding and racing scene.
Yeah, and I think, the thing I found with Paul, like if you rang him or spoke to him about anything, he always had time. Didn't matter if you're a teenager or an adult, he'd always give you time and answer your questions. I think he was a terrific guy. It's a sad loss to the industry and into the family.
Well said. Mickey, best of luck on Saturday night. Fernando's Glory Box 2, Analysing Box 7, Group 1 Peter Mosman Opal. It'll be nice to get back out of lockdown and with a Group 1 winner, mate.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Take care. Have a good day.
Well, there's a nice push for Analysing Timmy at around that $9.50 quote. And again, it's funny because you want that dog to show early speed. In a big race final, you want a dog that's going to be up there and in that leading division. And you're going to get that with Analysing. I can't help but think if the boxers were reversed, if Analysing, I know Mickey just said that he doesn't mind her out wide, but if she'd drawn box 2, she would be more than half her quote in the betting market.
Yeah, I can probably agree, Duke. But as we just mentioned to Mick, I really think she'll be a big firmer come race time. I think Fernando's Glory will get out for sure from the early quotes at 220, 225 or thereabouts. You know what you get with Analysing. She just begins brilliantly and she just charges. She's got that great early speed. And Group 1 races, Duke, are 8 or 9 times out of 10 are won by leaders. And she's going to be punching for the lead at the first turn. She's got an undeniable chance. And I'd suggest anyone who does want to back Analysing, take the $9 now or $9.50, $10 or thereabouts, because she won't start that come Saturday night for mine. And
as you mentioned, Timmy, you don't mind Sophie Saren. Reggie's a great man with the dog, Reggie Gardle, who's got Sophie Saren. 29.7 at Lismore over the 520 metres. A very comparable sort of run at Wenty in the sense that she trialled 29.80 there. first look at the track last week, first official look. She ran second behind She's Salacious, but, she was solid in that run. Again, box 8 at Wentworth Park, it's a horror box for me in big race finals. I've seen some champions get beaten from out there, but she's going to get a nice card into the race, mate.
Yeah, it's all right to say box 8 is no good in those big race finals, but it's all about race shape, in my opinion. And this race, I think she's going to get a nice run with Analysing drawn underneath her. I think she's a tremendous bet here, Sophie Zaren. As you just mentioned, she's run 29.80 in a trial. I think her run last week was full of merit. Analysing drawn underneath it can give her a bit of a card across. If I was the way I would play the race, I think you can back Analysing and Sophie Zaren at the $9 and $10 now, and then sit back. I think you're going to get overs about both of those greyhounds. I'll be shocked if they both start around those prices, to be quite frank, Duke. She's Salacious, I think, has got an undeniable chance. And Fernando's Glory, we know what she's capable of, but as Mick just said, he was shocked to see her basically lid ping and run 5:39. He's hoping she'll do it again, replicating what he'd done in the week leading in. But look, I don't think she'll need to run that early section to hold the high speed greyhounds wide out coming across. So, yeah, as I said, playing the race, I think 7 and 8 are the way to go at the current prices, Duke.
Yeah, I'm keen on the red. I thought that She's Salacious was beautifully boxed there. She's got the early pace. We know that she can jump and run. She ran 5:39 at the first mark, 2 starts back when she ran 86. I thought the $3.30, I thought that was a good price about a greyhound in form, well drawn in the race. You know what you're going to get from her. I said 13 starts for 9 wins and 3 minors. As say, boxers win big races. I think she's perfectly drawn. That is my tip. She's Salacious. I'm going to, again, pin you down. What's your play in this, Timmy?
I'm tipping number 8, Sophie Zaren, $10. I think she's a tremendous bet. I think number 1, She's Salacious, is the one to beat you. I actually think she'll start favourite. I think 3:30 now. I think she'll start favourite, and Fernando's Glory will get out to about the 3:30, 3:50, 3:60, and She's Salacious has a chance of starting 2:70, 2:80. Analysing and Sophie Zaren, I think will trim down from their quotes of $9 or $10 now. I'm 8-1. 7 Analysing, would have to have a bet on her at the price, and then leaving Fernando's Glory there. She's got an undeniable chance, but she's well and truly rock bottom odds when we record this show or early on Thursday morning.
Yeah, the wings look as if they've got it, 1, 2, 7 and 8, and I'll be playing them in the multis. All right, we're going to take a short break here on Behind the Boxes. Coming up next, all our regular segments, what's hot, what's not, the rumour file. We're going to talk with Andy Lord about the chances of Bandit Ned in the Vic Peters Classic, and also Dave Smith, who has got Super Estrella and now Prim and Proper in the Group 2 Sydney Cup. All that plus a whole lot more coming up in this week's edition of Behind the Boxes. Welcome back to Behind the Boxes. As I said, it's a Super Saturday at Wentworth Park this Saturday evening. Group 1 Vic Peters Classic, the Group 1 Peter Mosman Opal, the Group 2 Sydney Cup Battler. Let's talk about the Vic Peters Classic, a race that has been won by absolute champions. I don't know if there's an absolute champion in the making in this, but boy, oh boy, there's a few smart dogs, including the likes of Bandit Ned. I spoke to Andy Lord on Wednesday morning. We're going to hear that interview in just a moment. But what more can you say about that dog? 14 wins, 17 starts, 3 minors, 29.55. Thank you very much.
Oh, he's been a real revelation over the last few months, hasn't he? He's 5 out of 5 at Wentworth Park. As you said, 29.55. He's won 14 out of 17 overall. He's just an utter winning machine. He was a bit green in the early days, but he's now put it all together, and gee whiz, he has got a mammoth engine. He found the line like a runaway freight train last Saturday night. He can overcome difficulties in his races. He handles all boxes too, Duke. I think he's well drawn in the middle of the line, but not so well drawn in this particular race where the other greyhounds around him are drawn. But he's a deserved favourite, and he's got an undeniable chance.
Well, as I said, on Wednesday morning, I caught up with Andy Lord, who, along with his wife, Jodie, prepare Bandit Ned, who's drawn at box 6 in the Group 1 Vic Peters Classic on Saturday night. Andy, thanks for joining us on Behind the Boxes. Firstly, mate, I've got to say congratulations on the way that you and Jody have placed Bandit Ned throughout his career. He's now won 14 of 17. He's run 3 minors as well. But prior to his winning that heat of the Vic Peters, the start prior, he was in a 5th grade at Wentworth Park. That must have taken some exceptional planning, mate.
Oh, yeah, over the last 6 months, he sort of, he started off a little bit scratchy, which we didn't expect. He was going so good in trials. And once we learned he'd become a race dog, well, we placed him in the right races where, he was in his grade. And we knew he actually had 2 5th grades at Wenny, and we picked up one of them the week before the heat. So, it's been good.
Look, he did do a few things right in his first couple of starts. I think that's a tag he still carries with a few pundits and a few punters. I personally think it's an unfair tag if they're still labelling that, because realistically, mate, he's done nothing other than show how brilliant he is at his last 13 or 14 starts.
Yeah, I think he was just a bit tricky. I mean, even in the Gosford Gold Mine, up until then, he still looked back to see where they were. And that was just more, he was just being cheeky. I mean, the dog is actually a good chaser. I mean, I think punters have warmed to him now because you can't do any more than win, and he keeps winning. So
14 of 17, mate. You make no secret of the fact that you don't think you've reached the bottom of the barrel with this dog. And you've publicly said some of the times that he's running private trials is just off the charts. Can you give us an insight as to what some of those times are at different tracks that you've trialled him at?
Oh, look, he's run in the low 20s, 24-2 at Goulburn. Trial day, that dogs just don't run. And he can do that on any track. Like, I took him to Tamora and he broke the track record. He'd never seen the joint. I'll give you an indication of what sort of dog he is. Up my straight, I've got a 500-metre straight with electric timing. And a good run up there is the record was 19.6, and that was by Magic Earner. He used to run 20 and 50 every week. So that's a second off the record. And about 4 weeks ago, on a slow track, he went 20 and 28. And I said to Jody, this dog's found a leg. He's just improved. And then I put him up the following week and he broke the 20. And then I put him up the following week and he went 19.27.
Whoa.
Just like that. And I could see the difference in him in the last 6 weeks. Just, before he was sort of going into the pen, but not all the way.
Yeah. And
just the last month, 6 weeks, he's nearly hitting the back of the catching pen. So he's really worked it out now. And I think Fernando's are like that. I've had a few. They're a little bit slow at learning, but they're willing to learn. And the more you teach them, well, obviously the better they get. He's a brilliant sire,
Hey, listen, we've been mates for a long while. I remember being at Wentworth Park in 2004. You and Jody won a national sprint championship with a greyhound called In For Life. And it's a greyhound I think you probably still rank as the best or the most freakish chase you've ever prepared. Where does Bandit Ned sit alongside In For Life at this stage of his career?
Oh, well, I have to say at this stage of his career, he's going better only because of his win record. His record's phenomenal. And In For Life could get beat, but he was a brilliant dog, and he broke records at Cessnock. And I remember when he broke the record at Dapto and a come up, he broke 29 and they end up putting up 29.20. I still believe he broke 29. He beat Brilliant Style that day by 14 lengths. You don't beat Brilliant Style by 14 lengths. She was very fast to sell.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't like tagging dogs, like with other dogs, but I mean, this dog just keeps winning and he keeps improving. So who knows?
He's yet to taste defeat at Wentworth Park. 5 starts there for 5 wins. What's even more impressive, he's had 10 starts from box 5 through to box 8, and he hasn't been beaten in any of those starts either. This Saturday night, it is a Group 1. He draws box 6. Does that box hold any fears for you in this race?
None at all. anything from 6 out. Like if he drew the 8, I'd declare him. But the only hang up I have is I did watch the 7, and the 7 wanted to come across very quick. So I went back and watched his runs at the Gardens, and at the Gardens he sort of didn't want to come across as quick. I'm just hoping that the 8 was dragging him across, because if the 7 comes out and comes straight across, well, as you know, he's. But I said that at Nara when Notified was outside him, and I said, we got no chance. But he's smart, this dog, or he's just lucky, because that night he missed the kick and he just runs straight around him, so he knows how to win.
Oh, he sure does. Box 7 is Mickey Do. Box 8 is Aston Barak. Box 5, Andy, is Zipping Panama, who put up an enormous effort to win last week, going 69, but we know that he trialled faster there. He is a dog who is unreliable at box rise. You may get that couple of clear strides at the start with Bandit Ned if Zipping Panama misses it. Kansas.
Yeah, look, he misses it 9 times out of 10. I think he's a brilliant dog, but he needs to get the start right, that dog, and then he'll probably show what he can do. But Bandit Ned won't come across. He'll just slide across, and that's his.
Runs that straight line early, doesn't he?
Yeah. So Mickey Do needs to miss it.
And so does Aston Barak, and so does Zipping Kansas.
And all of them do, and I need to come out running. Look, it's a Group 1 final, and at the end of the day, you can always be the best dog, or you can be the favourite. You still need luck. Everyone needs luck. I've been in plenty of them, and I don't get nervous from any of them type of races.
I don't think I've ever seen you nervous in your life, mate. Except when
once.
maybe you're at boys' school, yeah.
Boys' school. Casey Pedrano will tell you about that.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, listen, who do you think is the biggest danger?
Oh, geez, I don't know. The way the boxes are, look, anything can win it. Any dog in the race could win it. And it's not a race where you can say that something's got to, look, Cop Magnet, a dog that I'd sold to Andrew Bell, I think he'll lead. So who knows? He might lead and they all might bunch up, and you don't know. It's just one of them races. But I'm quietly confident that I can win it.
And mate, best of luck to you and Jody. You have literally been on fire. That first meeting back at Wenning on the Wednesday night, you had 5 of the 9 winners, and the runs continue. But it's not just in the last few weeks. It's obviously been in the last 20, 25 years as well, mate.
Yeah, mate, we try hard, and we eat and breathe dogs. I haven't had a day off in 10 years, so we do deserve some success,
And you're now paying tax, brother.
Yeah, the last 2 years I've paid tax. Now let's get this straight so everyone knows. I've actually paid tax for 20 years.
Right.
But it's the first time I've had to pay them. They've been paying me before that.
Oh, right.
And that's because of the prize money.
And the prize money, look, on that note, prize money is sensational at the moment. Have you ever seen the dog game in New South Wales in a better shape?
I was talking to a bloke today. I haven't heard from him for 10 years. Remember Peter Cohen?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He trained from Central Coast, I think.
Yeah, good bloke and a good trainer. And he said, I'll never get back in dogs again in my life. And I told him what the prize money is, and he said, oh, I might reconsider it. Mate, the prize money's unbelievable. No one's got cause to whinge. It's anyone that can't make a living out of this game, even if you're a professional place getter, you're still going to take home good money. The money's great. And it's, if it gets better, good. But I think, it's anyone can make a living out of greyhounds now.
Yeah. All right, mate. First things first, best of luck on Saturday night with Bandit Ned to both you and Jody, mate. And let's hope that luck continues, buddy.
Thanks, mate.
Well, as Andy said, I guess the conundrum is what's going to happen at the start. You've got Mickey Do, you've got Aston Barak. Mickey steps. He does want to get across to the fence, but again, you can keep finding reasons as to why Bandit Ned can't win, and the dog just keeps winning.
And you can analyse things too, Duke. What if Mickey Do misses a kick a length or 2? And he can do that. He's very, very touchy at box rise. So if you're saying, the way I'm reading the race, I'm reading the Mickey Do will step, but he could easily bomb it. He has in many other runs. And then if he does that, well, Bandit Ned's going to get plenty of room up the middle of the track to let go and really get into stride. And we know what he's capable of when he's got fresh air. And the times he's capable of running. So, it's an intriguing race again, I think. As you said, we've had out-and-out champions in the past win this race. I don't think there's out-and-out champions in it this year either, but there's some really, really good dogs, fast dogs, and I think a lot of these dogs will be contesting our feature races in the next 12 months.
Special blend ran 29.86. Sound of Silence, very impressive, running 29.65. No more impressive than Zipping Kansas, who clocked 29.89, coming from a clear last. Bandit Ned ran 30 and 11 in that heat. He ran 29.55 the week prior, I should have said. And then Mickey Do, Aston Barak, drawn out wide. Also impressive from a wide draw. He loves the outside boxes, Aston Barak. He clocked 29.60 in his heat. Now, as far as the market goes, it's $2.60 Bandit Ned, $4.60 Aston Barak, $5.50 Zipping Kansas. Again, a couple of mix-up races, but when you look at a run like Zipping Kansas, as I said last week on the show, we'd heard that he trialled fast. He certainly ran up to that trial on Saturday night, Battler.
Yeah, he did. I think he'd run around 29.50 odd in the trial a week prior. But you can't win races. You can't win Group 1 races by doing what he did in his heat. If you've got a dog in front running 29.6, 29.7, and that's a real possibility here, well, you can't do that at box race. You need an absolute miracle to get through the first turn. He did get that in his heat. There's no doubting his ability, but he's got to mend those box manners, I think, to win big races. So he's a greyhound, untapped ability, but he's got a lot to learn. I think number 8, Aston Barak, has got an amazing chance here. Yeah. I'm reading the race and counting on Mickey Do beginning. Yep. And if he does, Aston Barak will get the greatest run down the outside you've ever seen. He ran 29.60 winning his heat. He's got an incredible record from outside boxes. He loves drawing out there. He's got a great record at Wentworth Park. He's got a mix of speed and strength. If he begins, Mickey Do goes left. He runs to the top. It's 29.60. And the only dog who could run him down, well, probably 2 would be Zipping Kansas and Bandit Ned. But they would have to get right on his hammer. They'd have to be within a length working to the back. Now, the way I'm reading the race, it probably won't happen because Mickey Do, I think, will go left if he begins, and Bandit Ned's going to need to use his frame to hold his line and dodge Mickey Do. So, I've landed on Aston Barak for all of those reasons. I think the $4.60 to $5 around the traps is a really fair price. I've got him on top. Mickey Do, I think, is a better chance than his current price does suggest at $10 or $11, because if he does begin, he could easily get across. And if he happened to lead, he would run, I'd imagine, 29.7 on the lure, Mickey Do. So I think he's over the odds at the moment. 3 Cop Magnet. I think he's one of the likely leaders. Could hold on for a little minor placing, and Bandit Ned, look, great chance, but it's a very tricky draw. So I think you've got to analyse the races. If you're going to back Bandit Ned, you're just praying Mickey Do doesn't begin, I think, if you're looking at it that way.
And if, again, Bandit Ned's record when drawn from boxes 5 out, undefeated in 10 starts from boxes 5, 6, 7, 8, we just heard in that interview with Andy. Aston Barak from boxes 5 through to 8, he's had 7 starts, 6 wins. The only start that he's been unplaced in from a wide box is from box number 8. So, but that was a long while back in his career. And again, it's 29.60. If Mickey steps, he's going to get the perfect run. I'm keen on Aston Barak at the price. I think he's going to get that run of the race that you just mentioned. Can't discount Bandit Ned. Say a dog that wins 14 out of 17, runs 55 at Wentworth Park. He's a free-for-all dog at other tracks around New South Wales. Andy and Jody have said in that interview, they've done a great job placing him. I'm going to back a couple of back markers as far as the exotics go, Battler. I thought Sound of Silence and Zipping Kansas, they both will be run-on dogs if there is any trouble in the race. Sound of Silence got that perfect run through at the first turn in its heat to run 65. Zipping Kansas, again, he also got the run through. to run 29.89. But I do subscribe to your belief that it's very hard to win Group 1 races when you're 5 and 6, 7 lengths off the leaders and they're running 60 and 65 and 50 up front. It's nearly impossible to do, but I love playing the first fours and the tries and that. So I'm with Bandit Ned and Aston Brack. Sound of Silence and Sipping Kansas go into the exotics for me, mate.
Yeah, I think we're both, could be the poor old Jason Fletcher. We're both landed on Aston Barak. So they're cursing us right now. But look, as I said from a moment ago, I just think he's perfectly drawn. But it's all about the race shape as far as the way I read races, and banking on Mickey Do beginning, he's going to get that beautiful run.
All right, that is the second of the Group 1s that will be staged on Saturday evening. As I said, one of the most intriguing staying races I think we've been looking forward to seeing for some time is the Group 2 Sydney Cup. The field is Zipping the Zecco in box 1. Fixed odds currently around $7.50. Line of Quality at $10. My Margarita, the outsider, at $100. Miss Esme draws box 4 at $4.60. Stanley Road, Group 1 Association Cup winner. Group 1 Top Gun Stayers winner at even money from box 5. Carly Keeping in 6s around the $41. Buy 5 Helen is a scratching from box 7. Super Estrella at $4.40. And Prim and Proper, the kennel mate and half sister to Super Estrella, now gets a start from box 7. It is currently $41. A man who's been having a run for what seems to be the last couple of years. It's been outstanding for him. Dave Smith joins us now. And Dave, you've got Super Estrella drawn in box number 8. You now have Prim and Proper drawn in box number 7. And I guess if there was a box that you wanted Prim and Proper in, it was probably on the inside of Super Estrella, because she also steps out sweetly and wants to head across.
Yeah, she does, but she also likes to get off the track a bit on the first corner. So I think it's important for Super Estrella to be in front of her to give her a chance of winning the race.
Let's talk about Estrella then. She's out of Esparza, a former Group 1 stayer. She's a half sister to Prim and Proper. Her heat win, 42.04, out on the bunny, running time. How impressed were you with that run?
Oh, you couldn't expect any more. She went as good as I'd hoped she could. She's trolled on even better than I would have hoped. So she's got every chance. We just hope for a fast track, and that'll obviously play into her hands if we can get a fast track on Saturday night.
Now, it's been 10 nights, or will be 10 nights from the heats, which were Wednesday week ago, into this Saturday night. What have you actually done with her in that time?
Well, I gave her a 5:35 at Richmond on Sunday night, having the track been prepared for a race meeting, and with all this rain around, I thought that was probably the safest option. So, I thought better get in with all this rain coming before get the trial in nice and early. So she did a 5:35 and ran 30:61 on Sunday night, which with the times they were running on Sunday night, that's pretty good. I was very happy with it.
Yeah, and listen, with box 8, as you said, Prim and Proper, and again, a greyhound that can get out, does want to get a little bit wide of that first turn, but Super Estrella drawn out in box 8. How does that box sit with you, given the way that the other runners are drawn in this field?
Oh, look, I would have rather been in box 1 or 2, but I think she can handle the 8. It's just there's a bit of pace underneath her there now with Prim and Proper and Miss Esme, and even Zipping the Zecco in 1. They can run good sections as well. So, you don't win these races unless you fly out anyway. So she gets a chance. It's better than box 5, 6, 7. And looking at it, the two major dangers, according to the bookies, that they haven't drawn that well either. So no excuses for her.
Miss Esme, she's had the better of Estrella in the past couple of times that they've met. They're both greyhounds that are, as Timmy and I have both said, on an upward trajectory. They're still very, very limited in their preparations over the 700. And this obviously is a big race. It's a Group 2, but there's bigger things to come for both Miss Esme and Super Estrella, I think.
Yeah, look, they're both very young. And look, when it's run it down both times, but only by half a length or a length, and the times have been amazing.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. If we can just get that bit of luck, there's that little bit of improvement still in her. And as you say, she just got an invite to nominate for the Top Gun. So that's really pleasing to see that she's been looked at in a state. And there is, I don't know if there's bigger things in the Sydney Cup to come, but we'll start with the Sydney Cup. Would be nice.
She's always showing you something about, hasn't it? I mean, you go back to her early starts. It took her 4 starts to break a maiden at Wenty, but then 2 starts later, she ran 29.76. She's a greyhound that's been so consistent, 18 wins, 18 placings from 41 starts. Where does she sit with you as far as the best that you've trained so far?
Yeah, look, we've had other dogs that have shown a lot of potential and probably trialled just as fast, but she's put it together on the racetrack. Touch wood, she's relatively injury-free, and I think that's what makes a hell of a difference in getting the results. So, yeah, early on, she wanted to get up the track a little bit, and it just takes a little bit for them to learn how to race in amongst the field. And she's probably cost herself the futurity, the Group 1 futurity, by running off on the first corner as well. So hopefully she's learned from all that and she'll get a chance on Saturday.
And a lot of times in those sprint races, not so much poor box manners, but a lack of early speed up against the real sprinters, yet the step up to the middle distance and then now to the long distance, her early toe really stands her in good stead and puts her in that position to be able to win these races.
Yeah, it does. And look, she's run 15.90 a couple of times there at Wenty. So she has got the speed, but she just needs that bit of room and that extra yard to pick up the pace. So that 7.20 gives her that chance. So, yeah, she's proven she can go with even the best sprinters. But in those races, it gets a bit tough for her.
Well, 15.9 wins pretty much any of those 280-metre races at Wenty. You spoke about the Top Gun, a nomination to the Top Gun Stayers. We've got a big race coming up next year over the 700 metres that we're still yet to announce details, but that will hopefully come out in the next few weeks. The team itself, Dave, you race a lot of the dogs that have the ethics suffix and that. For you personally, what's it mean to continue to train winners? It's been a lifelong dream for you to be a professional trainer.
Yeah, well, it has. I started out as a professional accountant and ran my own business for a while. Was lucky enough to be able to buy a farm, which was always the dream, and do the dogs. So you need those winners to stay in it. So, we haven't been one that goes through the dogs. We just bred our own and race what we have, wherever that leads us. And now Michael Jones, who's always done my rearing for me, he's thrown a few our way, and they're going really well. So, yeah, we just hopefully can keep going.
And, of course, the Jones had My Bro Fabio, trained by Jamie Ennis, a Group 1 Perth Cup winner. And they also, they had a Sparser as well?
They did. I think they might have sold a Sparser and then just got her back for breeding. So, but they certainly had her and reared her and then sold her with margins, I think, with the brother. So, pretty successful litter, that one.
Dave Smith there, talking about the chances of Super Estrella and also Prim and Proper Battle. I don't know about you, I tell you, I reckon I've looked at this race 27 times and come up with probably 26 different winners.
Yeah, it is a tough one. Just trying to work out how the race will be run. Will Super Estrella get across? Will Miss Esme hold her out? Zippingness Echo is the greyhound, I think, who's maybe flying a little under the radar, letting all these big names who we've been spruiking for the past couple of months. She could be Johnny on the spot from box 1, punching up, holding a third behind those 2 likely leaders. Miss Esme Duke, I think she's got to find probably 3/10 on her heat victory to win the race. Stanley Road, well, what can you say about him? He'll be out the back early. If the runs come, we know he's got a booming finish. And if he's within striking range of the leaders on that top turn, he could easily run them down. Line of quality, Duke. His run was outstanding. In his heat, first up for 2 months or thereabouts. So, but he's a greyhound who needs plenty of fresh air and everything to go his way. But if he turned up and the runs presented mid-race, he could easily be in the finish as well. It's a tremendous race. I'm actually looking forward to this race the most on Saturday night. I can't wait. We've been spruiking these 2 bitches, Miss Esme and Super Estrella, ever since this show began a couple of months ago. And now it's their time to really shine in a Group 2 race, biggest test in their career. So, yeah, Saturday night, it's a mouth-watering clash.
I concur with everything you said. I think they're up-and-comers. They're not seasoned. They're not hard, fit racing dogs over the 700. They're still very young in their staying careers. Zipping Niseko only a couple of runs back. But I know one thing after watching greyhound racing for probably the best part of 50 years, Battler, that good dogs win good races, dogs that are seasoned, dogs that have had their preparations time to the minute. And although we mentioned in the past about, or in the previous segment about, sprinters not being able to come from off the pace, it's a totally different scenario with a stayer. And I can't help, as said last week, to think that Mark Gatt has timed the preparation of Stanley Road to perfection. He did it earlier this year with the Association Cup with this dog. He got him peaking at exactly the right time. His heat win was devastating. I thought he ran 41.93, and again, 42.04 for Super Estrella. Miss Esme out in front running 42.29. Zipping Niseko running 42.22. We know he can run the time. We know what we're going to get with Stanley Road. He's going to be out the back. You're going to be holding your breath. You're going to be going, why have I backed this dog? And then all of a sudden, you're going to find he takes runs. He's very, very, very smart in a field.
He is, Duke.
I know he's short. I know it's easy. It's an easy cop out to tip a favourite. But again, drill down on why you're tipping him. And that's why I think Stanley Road can win.
And Duke, if you go back, and we mentioned this on last week's show when we were reviewing the heats in probably more depth, what were the run home times of the two bitches, Super Estrella and Miss Esme. If you have a look at their run home times and then you have a look at Stanley Road, he was home at about 12.10. They were around 12.7, 12.8. Now, if you go off those times, he can give those bitches 8 to 10 lengths with clear running, mind you, with clear running. He can give those bitches 8 to 10 lengths on that top turn and run them down. So if you can just get him sliding through, at the first turn and even down the home running, on the first occasion, even if he is probably 12 or 13 off them, if he can just gradually make ground midway down the back, and, if he's got clear running, well, look out leaders, but he could even overcome a few little checks early doors and still run those girls down. The big question is Zipping Niseko. Where's she going to land? How much improvement has she got in her from a first up run over the 700 for 3 months? Look, I think she's the one with the most improvement as far as fitness wise is concerned, and she's got a gun draw. She's drawn just a park behind the 2 leaders. So yeah, can't wait, Duke.
Yeah, look, the thing that gets me with Stanley Road, he's run 41.9 there a few times to me. Zipping Niseko, who I actually think, like you, is the danger. It's had 9 goes at Winnie over the 700. It's got a PB of 42.07. It's 2 lengths off what Stanley Road can run.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think Zipping Niseko will get that perfect run. No early pace from Line of Quality in that run to the first turn. Zipping Niseko punches up. Miss Esme, Super Estrella lead, pace from Prim and Proper, Stanley Road out the back, Zipping Niseko smoking the pipe. So for me, I think Stanley Road wins. I think it beats Zipping Niseko perfectly drawn. And then I think the speed dogs will be thereabouts at the finish, but not being able to hold off the challenge.
Yeah, I'm in the corner of Stanley Road as well. I've got him on top. I'm putting Super Estrella in for second. I think she can get across and lead, and I think she will improve on that 42.04 now with a few 700-meter runs around, under her belt now. I think she's getting stronger and stronger. Zipping Niseko, I think she's got a great chance. She'll park behind the leaders, leaving Miss Esme there. She's got to find a few tenths, Duke, on her heat win. She's in a care of Jack Smith. I think after talking to him after the race last week, I think she went in a little bit underdone. So I'm sure he's got a bit up his sleeve as far as she's concerned. Can't rule out Line of Quality, but yeah, I'm in the corner of Stanley Road. And Duke, I think the race could be run to suit him with all these speed runners. You've got Prim and Proper as well. So you've got 4 or 5 high speed greyhounds here who will put on the and that might break the field up, which will play into the hands of Stanley Road. I've got him on top, but if you chime in, I'm sure you're going to have your heart in your mouth in the early stages.
Yeah, and the first race, the first of 10 races at Wenny on Saturday night, kicks off at 6:42 p.m. As I said earlier, the Battler and I will be there trackside right throughout the night. We'll have pre and post-race interviews. All right, Battler, Ivory Coat, our great sponsors of What's Hot and What's Not. Tell me, what is hot for the battler this week, apart from getting out of lockdown, right? Did you have a haircut or not?
No, I haven't. You know what? I'll tell you the truth. I've been up to Barry the barber.
Barry the barber.
It's Thursday morning now. We're doing this show. I've been up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Duke, the lineup. There's 4 in the shop, I think, and there's 12. There were 10 or 12 waiting each time. I don't wait. I can't do that. I'm going to have to get a haircut before Saturday.
Please.
Before I get back to the track, because I don't want to go through what I did like a couple of weeks ago. People just give it to me left, right, you know. So tonight, I'm hoping they'll be open a bit later, being Thursday night, late night shopping, all that jazz. So I'll go up tonight, hopefully, and I'm just going to have to, after work, I'll just have to line up and I've got to wait for an hour. But yeah, that's the reason. As I said, I have been up 3 times, but I'm drive in. He's parked just on the outside of the shopping centre.
So Barry the barber is very hot at the moment.
He should be what's hot. Yeah, Barry. I'll tell you what, he's earning a fortune, but the poor bugger, he hasn't had much the last few months. So I hope it continues, but I just hope it's just, I can't wait for 2 or 3 people in front of you.
Yeah, I don't.
Not 10 or 12, please. Please, it might be a case of just taking my chances with Paula. I mean, get those peppers
you
out.
had your opportunity. I going to bad, mate.
As I said, I wasn't going to be another victim. She'd already claimed 2 in the 2 boys. Now, what's hot? I know this is a New South Wales show, but this greyhound went around at Bendigo on the weekend, and he's a former he's a New South Wales owned, and he's a former New South Wales trained greyhound. Typhoon Sammy, who we have mentioned on this show a few times, he was running flying times around Grafton. He won a heat of the Bendigo Cup on Saturday night and beat Tigalong Tonk, who is, he's just a Group 1 dog. He's been a Group 1 dog for a couple of years now, Duke. Ran a track record winning that heat on Saturday night. He's now in the care of Jason Thompson, but he is an outstanding talent. He's now been down in Victoria for a couple of months, but he's 5 for 5 down there. He'll go into the Bendigo Cup on the weekend, the skinny favourite. And he's my what's hot this week. As I said, there is a New South Wales link with mine, so I'm still sticking with us. But yeah, I've got to give him a rap, Typhoon Sammy, and you know the dog really well.
Yeah, I do. Trained by Johnny Dart at the time up here, and a Grafton dog basically. And my what's hot this week, battler, is Baroque Night for the toot man, the train man, Stevie Keith. He's filthy on you too, by the way, because he's filthy on you because you jumped on the train when I started giving it to him. He thought he said that new bolt. He said he's barred, he's finished, but that's right.
That's another one.
How about this? Baroque Night last Sunday evening at Grafton, first up for 6 months. His previous run, he ran third in the Group 1 Golden Easter egg. Wacky Jackie comes out and breaks the 350-metre track record, runs 1980. Holds the record, I think, for 14 minutes. Because in the very next race, Baroque Night comes out and runs 1972, thank you very much, after missing the start. Now, again, listen, I love taking the mickey out of Kiwi. So does pretty much everyone else up here at Grafton, right? We all go, toot, toot, he's Kiwi, right? All jokes aside, sensational training effort. The dog had done both pin muscles. He'd torn one, then Kiwi put him up the straight after he got the first one fixed, tore the other pin muscle, torn gut muscles, 6 months off the track. Kiwi was worried he would never get him back. To run 1972 over the sprint after missing the start. Kiwi actually believes he can run around the 19.6 mark, which is just off the charts. He's not forward enough. We've got heats of the Lismore Cup on Tuesday coming up. He won't be forward enough for that, obviously. He's going to take him along slowly, 450-metre races, and then just pick his mark with the dog. But, he was brilliant through that Golden Easter egg series at massive odds. I remember getting $8 and $10 the place about him. And Kiwi did a great job with him then, did a great job to break that track record on Saturday night. But, yeah, no, he's filthy on you, mate. He'll watch this and he'll go, you're right, Duke. I told you I was filthy about Newbold.
Yeah. Get in the queue, Keepy. Get in the queue.
Oh, mate, I've been fighting them off 100 years.
I got to say, that night, Golden Easter egg night, it's a great training performance, what you've just said, but that night at Golden Easter egg night was like he was that happy. It was like he'd won the race. Yeah. And it was just fantastic to see, how happy he was running third. behind two wonderful dogs, Tommy and Wow. And I hope he gets back to the big time and contests the big races, because it's good to have Steve with a contender in feature races, because he's a good fella, and he certainly enjoys himself when he's there. A few trainers, if they're there, sometimes you're there, every couple of months. But I love seeing, and it's a bit not hum, but if you know what I mean, it sort of becomes second nature a little. That's where you like to see these trainers who aren't regularly there in the Group 1 races get there, and they certainly take it all in, Duke, and enjoy the moment.
And if you're a latecomer to behind the boxes and wondering why we call Toot Toot, Stevie Keep, there's only one rail crossing between Grafton Track and where he lives in Warrego Creek. Keepy managed to get cleaned up by the XPT a few weeks back, which everyone... I don't know why people think it's so funny. I don't know why I think it's funny. I think it's only because it's Keepy, mate. And look, here are the photos again of it. And the car, not a good sight. Apparently the train driver's still in therapy. Keepy's still in therapy as well, let me tell you. So
I'll tell you what, you just keep ramming at home. Keepy, now, look, I'm not taking a part of this. It's only Duke-Loss, this one. He's giving it to you again.
Absolutely. I give it to him deluxe. I gave it to him on Sunday night. On Monday, he rang up. I rang him after the race, and I said, "Oh, you're too busy, you can't take my call," and that. But no, look, all seriousness, Baroque Knight, a greyhound to follow. He is something that will, again, if he can get back to what he was, he's going to give some of those feature races around Christmas, New Year. I mentioned to Keepy about Albion Park. He goes, I'm going to have to go to Albion Park. He doesn't like travelling apart from Wenty. So, hey, Battle of the Rumour File. The best one I got this week was there's going to be a strike, right? We're not going to take it anymore. They're shouting from the rooftops. COVID, double vaccinations, we're going to go on strike. Okay. That lasted about 4 minutes, I think, because at the end of the day, unfortunately for some human beings, not so much breed, but they understand where their bread is buttered, right? So to those trainers that I got text and phone calls from asking my opinion on whether they should strike or not, my reply was very succinct. I can't tell you what it said, but it was very succinct and said basically, give yourself an uppercut and wake up to yourself. We don't make the rules, as we mentioned earlier in the show. It is not Greyhound Racing New South Wales, and no matter what we've done, have a look. We've continued to race. I don't get why people are dirty on us. On Greyhound Racing New South Wales, and again, I'm only a contractor, you're an employee, right? But we just heard Andy Lord say, Greyhound Racing's never been better. To think that we've dropped very few meetings over the past 18 or 20 months. It is not Greyhound Racing New South Wales making these bloody rules up.
Yeah, we're adhering to the New South Wales government public health orders, Duke.
Seriously.
We, as a sport, we've got, like everyone else in society, you have to obey those orders. Look, I've got some friends, Duke, who work behind bars, who work in restaurants, and other industries, work at the airport. They've lost their income over the last few months.
Yeah,
I'm fortunate. I've been working. I've been earning income exactly like you. Greyhound trainers and participants have had an opportunity to continue racing through this whole pandemic, and even last year as well. I think the three racing codes are incredibly lucky to have raced all the way through. And I think if you actually grab anyone and say, and if anyone's honest, I think there were 2 or 3 times last year, I thought, we probably won't get through. We won't get through. But we just continued to do everything which was required. And that's everyone in the industry, participants, right across, the administrators, getting everything run, everything into place, GWIC stewards, everyone getting together to get us through. So I think we've got to be realistic and sit back and if I hadn't heard about any strike action, and I think that's crazy talk, because and again, I work for Greyhound Racing New South Wales, so people can probably just say, it's new bold. Of course he's going to say that, but I think we've got to sit back and just realise how lucky as an industry we have been to be able to continue racing through, because there's people who have lost their businesses, people have had no income, people can't pay their mortgages. Greyhound Racing's continued, like all other racing codes, has continued to race all the way through.
Yeah, and I said that was a rumour, shut down very quickly. Again, sometimes, mate, you can't put brains into statues. I know it sounds, harsh in that, but I don't think people sometimes think through a lot of things, and they do shoot from the hip and that. Yeah, it just blew me away. Anyway, hey, listen, don't forget What's Hot, What's Not, brought to you by Ivory Coat, our great sponsor. They also sponsor the Run of the Week on the dogs.com.au website. Great food and kibble for your companion animal as well as your racing greyhound. Timmy, dogs to follow.
I've gone for Little Burrito, Duke, who we did mention here on this show a few weeks ago after running a track record at Gunnedah.
Hey, listen, before you go on, has Alan Ivers rung you, mate? Because the dog last week was it keeping on?
Yeah.
And it won 8 straight.
Yeah, I got it beat.
You've got to beat not once, but twice.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Al. Apologies. Anyway, I was just giving you a rap as a trainer, so we won't.
Oh, right. I thought it was the dog as well. Yeah.
No, we gave Al a rap as a trainer and the greyhound, making 8 on the trot. We won't give anybody raps on the show anymore.
Just been beating his last 2 in 4 days. That's all there.
Little Burrito, poor old Brian Garland. My apologies, Brian, but Little Burrito, broke the track record at Gunnedah 3 runs ago, but went to Maitland on Monday and ran 22.31 in a bog. It had been pouring. The quickest other time was 22.62 on the night, run by Ebby Infrared Duke, who's in a Goulburn Cup heat on Sunday. And we know what Ebby Infrared's done in his career. He's a class dog. He's made multiple Group 1 finals, I think, Ebby Infrared.
Robbie Rotten ran 25.7 to win over the 450.
50, yeah. And normally he'd run 20, probably 20. In his current form, he'd run 24.8. Yeah. So it just shows how slow the track was. And Little Burrito ran 22.31 was an amazing run. He's a brother to Miss Esme, so there's no doubt in the world he's probably doing. We probably shouldn't be doing what he's doing over 400 metres. He's going to be better whenever he gets up over, over 500-600 metres, I'd imagine. So, look, he's a real hot talent. Little Burrito has now won 3 out of 5, and I think he'll be winning many more.
All right, my dog to follow. I'm jumping on the Johnny and Minnie Finn bandwagon here, Timmy. I'm going to select a dog by the name of Zipping Ontario. It goes around at Richmond on Friday evening. Ran 35.34, winning its last start. And it's out of Zipping Caitlin, beautiful brood beach. 35.45, sorry. 3 starts back, ran 35.34, just getting this bloody computer organised. It's also run 30 and 40 over the sprint trip at Richmond. Small field on Friday night. We're probably not going to get massive odds. But again, he's a dog that, again, particularly with Johnny and Minnie, they know what makes Marty's breed work. They get the best out of them. He's been, super consistent lately. He's won 3 out of his past 5, 35.45, 35.34. Just think he's a dog in that 4th and 5th grade sort of style of race, particularly at Richmond. We're going to follow him. We're going to make a quid out of him.
Yeah, and he's a dog who I think is just he's been a little bit immature, and the more racing he has, as you've alluded to, they know what the breed needs, and I think he's just getting better and better with age. And I dare say you're probably a greyhound we will see over the 700 metres in the not too distant future, because he's been strong in those other wins over the 500 and 600 metres. So he's a greyhound. He's certainly above average, Duke. And I agree. I think if you follow him over the next few months, you'll be able to get an earn.
Not only is it a super Saturday at Wentworth Park, it is a sensational Sunday at Goulburn. We've got heats of the Fireball on. We have got heats of the Group 2 Goulburn Cup. They make up the last 4 races on the card, races 9, 10, 11 and 12, highlighted by WOW, also at Astra. We spoke with Andy Lord earlier about Bandit Ned in the Group 1 Vic Peters Classic. After that, I spoke to him about his chances that he lines up in the Goulburn Cup heat this Sunday afternoon. Mate, let's go through your runners. Race 9 is heat 1. Melcat Big Boy draws box 1. Picture Frame draws box 4.
Look, Melcat, I was talking to the owner of Melcat Big Boy the other day, and we've kept him at Goulburn for the simple reason He's a bit like Bandit Ned. He's in that stage where he's still learning. He's a brilliantly fast dog. But box 1 is his box. So he should get every chance to win a heat without looking what's in the heat, you know.
And what about in the second heat? Winlock on top, again, draws the red. Mr. Ticket draws box 3, but drawn in between you is a greyhound by the name of Wow.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about Wow. I mean, Wow needs to look, he's better outside, and you know, I think Mr. Ticket's obviously not going to bother him, but Winlock on top will punch up early, even though Goldman's not his track. He's as honest as they come, and you know, he won't give up.
In the third heat, race 11, One Smart One comes up with a squeeze draw here, box 5. It has run 24.50 at the track, but 56 actually.
Yeah, another dog doesn't have a lot of pace. He can come out on his day. He's actually going really well at the moment, that dog. He just needs to come out. If he comes out, he's a chance of qualifying.
And in the last of the heats, Ritz O'Donnell, he draws box 7. He comes up against Good Odds Cash.
Yeah, I don't know whether Good Odds Cash is a Goulburn dog. I've also got the 8 in it, trained by Anthony Has a Party.
Dairy Express. Yeah.
I bred him and read him, and I sent him down to Anthony, and he loves Goulburn, but I honestly think Ritz O'Donnell was nearly unbeatable.
Wow.
He is absolutely airborne, that dog. I've kept him away from the track for a while. He's running times that, you know, he's improved for his age and everything he's doing. I just think he's going to, and he's boxed to win.
Box 7 he comes up with. He's a dog that's run 24.5 there. His career record, 66 starts, 20 wins, 25 minors. One of the most consistent chasers that you've had.
Yeah, and he is a chaser, and he can run time, and on his day he can come out running. Collecting
Model, another greyhound I think you bred as well. It's drawn box 2.
Yeah, look, the Collecting Model and Coast Model and that whole litter, they're a little bit small to get around Goulburn, but I think, well, Dairy Express is going to get the best run ever because Ritz O'Donnell will come across hard and fast. But look, he is going good, and I really like him.
All right, so my last question to you was, who do you think your best chance in the heats are? You've obviously just answered that with Ritz O'Donnell.
100%.
About like cracking heats, Andy says he's just basically declared Ritz O'Donnell off box 7 in the last race. But again, we look at dogs like Wow, who's drawn box 2. We know he's not well boxed there, but he's got a great record from inside boxes. And boy, oh boy, does he love Goulburn.
He sure does. 24.18 PB around there. He's a rocket. Winlock on top's drawn underneath him. He's going to get a beautiful run. He'll get plenty of fresh air to move. But, you know, it's all right to say, you know, these greyhounds aren't that well drawn, you know, when they're wide runners. It all just depends on the greyhounds around them a lot of the time, Duke. Like Mr. Ticker's drawn on the outside of Wow. He shouldn't worry him. Ebby Infrared's got a bit of pace in 4, so he'll be charging, looking for the lead. But, look, he's a class, he's the class runner, and that class takes you a long, long way. Clearly the one to beat. Ad Astra's sitting up in the 8, as you mentioned just a little moment ago. Melcat, big boy in box 1 in the opening heat. That pair, that'll be a really good race. And Ritz Tommy, who's been airborne in recent weeks. It's interesting about Andy's confidence with Ritz O'Donnell. Good Odds Cash is in that heat. Now, her run when she finished 3rd in a heat of the Peter Mosman was a belter last Saturday night, and I've got a huge rap on her. I think she's going to be awfully hard to beat in that final heat, Duke. And Anthony Has a Party's coming up with Aston Titan in the 3rd heat, drawn box number 1. So it'll be awfully hard to beat as well. But all in all, it's a really, really good series, and looking forward to tuning in on Sunday afternoon. Yeah, and don't forget, you can watch the Goulburn Cup heats and the Goulburn Cup Fireball heats live and free on the dogs.com.au. So a massive 24, 48 hours of greyhound racing, Battler. The Phoenix concept, as we know, Greyhound Racing New South Wales purchased a slot in that. So did the New South Wales GBOTA. We're still in the process of deciding how we are going to determine the slot holder or the slot holder winner for Greyhound Racing New South Wales. We've tossed around a million ideas. The G-Bods, I think they're going to run a race series. We were looking to do something different, whether it was 2-dog or 4-dog match races. We're very close to landing on a concept with how we're going to do it, but Yeah, and we should have news probably within the next, next week or so where we do land. There are a few different, scenarios we are looking at. As you said, the G-Bots are running a race series. That basically is a race series which goes for a month. So it is difficult to slot another race series in anywhere. We were looking at match races, 4-dog races, but with the congested racing calendar with, Golden Cup this week, then we've got Lismore Cup and then the G-Bot 4-week series. So it's a bit of, toing and froing and tinkering. There's a few really good ideas. And it's all about, I think where we will land in the end, it's all about promoting the sport and trying to bring a new audience to greyhound racing, Duke, and with our corporate partners in News Limited, I think what we eventually land on, I think it'll be a good idea, a good promotion for greyhound racing as a whole to bring a new audience to the sport. So I think we'll have a bit of news in the next week or so.
Yeah, look, I'm a great fan of match racing. As a one-off sort of thing. I had a lot to do with the Speed Star series in Victoria. I'd love to see us do a match race, whether it's a 2-dog or a 4-dog, a shootout format, things like that. Mate, not for the Phoenix, obviously, but down the track. And I think that's where, you run the races every 7 or 8 minutes. You sell the wagering side of it as, it's South Sydney versus Penrith. It's Melbourne Demons versus the Western Bulldogs. It's things like that. That's how we get that new audience involved. And again, it's like that every 7 minutes. So I really like that concept. And I know, yourself and Wayne and I have discussed that. And I think there's things that we can do again to promote the sport. It's like syndication. You look at bringing new people into the game and all that. Hey, Battler, how was Freedom Day earlier this week? Was there a little party at North Rocks with the new bowls?
To be quite frank, no. It's been a really, really busy week, Duke, this week, and haven't really had a chance to scratch myself, to be quite frank.
Or get a haircut. Yeah.
Or get a haircut. So, I actually I got to a couple of race meetings this week. I ducked out to Richmond on Monday afternoon, and I got up to Gosford for a few races on Tuesday night just to oversee a couple of things. So, other than getting to the car and driving further than 5Ks, that's probably been the only difference to what it's been like for the last 4 or 5 months. I wouldn't say there's been a great difference. We're working Saturday night we are, but I think we've got a few people coming over for a barbecue maybe Sunday. I think, I'm not sure. It's in the calendar. What it is. So I've got to go check. I just do what I'm told, Duke. You know what it's like. I am looking forward though. Get through this weekend and maybe next weekend go for a lunch and a few beers at a pub or a restaurant or something, and do something a little normal, which we haven't had a chance to do since late June.
Well, I haven't seen you in person for I don't know how long, but I will see you in person on Saturday night. We're going to be live trackside at Wentworth Park. We probably will have a beer after the last, mate, at somewhere, whatever. I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
Brad, Adam, me, you, Mick Cowley. It's going to be a big night. We're going to be live on air from around that 6:30. First race kicks off around 6:42, I think it was, I mentioned earlier. But a massive night. The 2 Group 1s, the Group 2 Battler. Thank you very much. As said, a sad time for greyhound racing with the passing of Paul Wheeler on Wednesday evening. Again, our condolences to the entire Wheeler family. But I'm looking forward to seeing you, mate, on Saturday night for what is going to be a terrific night of chasing action.
Yeah, for sure, Duke. I can't wait to get there. As I said earlier, that Sydney Cup. I've been looking forward to this race for a good couple of months now, and I know we've got Group 1 races, but this Sydney Cup, it's worthy of Group 1 status, really, with the lineup we've got. So yeah, can't wait to get there Saturday night. All
right, thank you, Timmy Newbold, the Battler, here on Behind the Boxes. I'm Mark Duclos. Until next week, good luck, good punting. Bye for now.